Greetings everybody, Wakia here. Got my camouflage old camis on in solidarity with the people of southeast Ukraine, Donetsk and Luhansk, those cities, Donbass. Been getting some pretty hair-raising videos. Fozzie has been kind enough to send me some links, and I'm not going to share, I don't share these links because they're frontline stuff, and unless you ask me for them, I'll send them to you. But I can tell you one thing right now: we should be doing some ritual, we should be doing some prayer and sending some really good energy to these people that are suffering horribly. Some of these videos that I've seen are shattered glass. I'll just describe it to you. If you ever been in a war zone or seen a war zone, and it's not really a war zone, it's a city, okay? It's like just like your city. Only there's shattered glass everywhere. All the glass is broken out of the windows in the apartments. It's freezing cold, it's winter, there's bodies laying all over the place, just normal people, men, older men, women, kids, just laying around. We need to send these people, if I could go over there, I would. There's even a video of a woman that's fighting on the, hooray for her, women warriors, yeah. She tried to get her boyfriend to fight and he wouldn't, and went and turned tail and ran. So she says, well, I'm out here. That's the kind of spirit. And when you see these pictures, like say the bombed out airport, I think it's in Luhansk. It's nothing. It's not an airport anymore. It's a shell. It's just reinforced concrete pieces of it, and steel, reinforced. But it's a skeleton. There's nothing left. It's burned out. It's blown out. There's a million shards of glass everywhere. It's overcast, it's gloomy, okay? People don't realize, they sit over here, drinking their lattes at Starbucks, and they don't friggin' realize what these people are going through. And they don't realize that the reason that they're going through it is because of an agenda by our government, the USA, and other governments, in collusion with coup d'etats and installing Nazi skinhead elements. And I've been all through this before. But after seeing these videos, I got frustrated because, you go on and you look at some of these videos or some of these, some of the news agencies that send things or you can subscribe to, and it's like every other one is a contradiction. So, and it's not the real deal. And some links out there on YouTube show you the real deal, and you can find them, or you can email me if you want me to send you a few. But some of this stuff, most of it, I don't think you really want to see. I wanted to see it, and I wanted to see some of the interviews because I want the truth of what's going on over there. And the truth is that these, one video, now you're not going to believe this, one video had they got some of the East, captured some prisoners, okay, from the Kiev regime, okay, that came in. They just dumped them off at the airport and never came back to pick them up, and they got captured. And when they captured these guys, they found little tape recordings, a little tape recorder, you know, solar powered. Now get this, had a little thing on there about, you know, the kingdom of heaven and Jesus, and don't worry about if, basically the tenor of the thing was, don't worry about if you die, because you'll have a place in heaven or whatever. That's sick. Okay, that's sick. And they carry these little things, and it's got this weird music like brainwashing, ultra mind control. It's okay. Go in and, you know, that type of thing with weird music in the background. And these guys are carrying this stuff around so they can listen to it before they die. Okay? Or they can get courage from it, or they can put their life on. And who do you think maybe supply these things? I won't mention it, you know, the name, because let's put it this way, it's a well-known denomination from this country. Fundamentalist Christian organization in alliance with probably our country and our mind control people and the CIA. I think the point I really want to drive home here is that the horrors of war are unbelievable. And I've talked about what cities are going to look like, and that could happen here. Could happen in your neighborhood. Could happen. Why hasn't it happened up until now? I don't know. But isn't that funny too? That it always happens in other countries, okay? Now, what does that tell you? If it's happening in other countries and there's some kind of power perpetuating this, but it's not happening here, well, what does that tell you? It tells you that it's coming from here, because this is the sacred ground, or this is the ground that, not sacred, but this, according to them, this is the USA, USA. So it ain't going to happen here until it does happen, and it will happen. And you're not going to like what it's like, what it looks like. It's horrible to see little, you know, in the ruins. They showed pictures of, they didn't actually show the kids, but they showed pictures of the kids' dolls laying there all blown apart. It's like, well, if the dolls got blown apart, I guess you know who else got blown apart. You have to keep a clear head here and realize that this is being done by the West. So people, you need to spread this around and tell people that the West are murderers. They're murdering little children. And they're supporting these people. They've even admitted they're sending arms, and they've admitted it to Kiev. They're making Kiev look like the good guys when they're the ones that are moving in here. I want to straighten this out. They're moving in and shelling innocent people in innocent little towns, like a Midwest town or somewhere in Missouri, or just coming in, and, you know, that's the equivalent. I mean, they're just going into these towns and blowing them up and blowing everybody up and sending in guided, you know, shoulder shot missiles and some of the heavy, little bit heavier artillery on tanks, guided missiles, and blowing the shit out of these people. And for what? What is this for? Well, you figure it out, because they're all from the same culture. They're all the same people. Some are Russian, some are Ukrainian, but basically they're all the same people. Okay? They all rode reindeers at one time. They all, you know. Now the thing that gets me is you got these little Christian things they're putting in their pocket. You got Christian fighting Christian. Just like I said. Does that make sense to you? I guess you can see why now that the Native American indigenous people, our people, hated this because they're doing the same damn thing that they did back to us, you know, when they stuck us in the Carlisle schools, took us off the reservations, took the kids, stuck them in the Carlisle schools, brainwashed them, cut their hair, told them they couldn't speak their language anymore. Ethnic cleansing in Ukraine, just like in America with the Indians, ethnic cleansing, a particular group of people they want out of the way. And the USA is backing it, and they got, how can the USA do this in all good conscience? Back any war? Well, they're killers and murderers. What can I say? And they're doing the same thing with ISIS. ISIS is just a big sham. It's a big, I told you this before, now it's coming out. It's coming out that all these beheadings are staged, and they even have little kids assassinating people. That's all staged, people. Now they got 2 people from Japan. That's all staged, people. And it's a gory, it's like a horror movie that they stage. Are people getting killed over there? Well, sure they are. But you know who ISIS is? ISIS is us, is the U.S. Us, U.S., us. That's who it is. Doesn't have anything to do with, they just created an army over there to take out Assad. That's basically what this is all about. They want to take out Assad in Syria, and so they couldn't do it the other way. So they're creating an army that is basically U.S. trained, U.S. funded, U.S. armed, and probably a lot of U.S. CIA operatives, black ops people in there. Basically, it's our army. ISIS, but they're making it look like we have to fear that army. See how big these lies get? See how big these lies get? And the normal person out there, the normal person that watches the media and goes along with doesn't know this. They think ISIS are bad guys. They think ISIS are the enemy. They think ISIS, and they think the Ukrainians that are fighting for their freedom are the enemy. They're terrorists. They're the rebels. When it's just the opposite is true. Just the 180-degree opposite. It's not them that are rebels. They're fighting for their lives from these horrible maniac, murderous bastards that work for Kiev. And some of them aren't even murderous bastards. They just take these people and recruit them off the streets, even 60-year-old guys, young kids, and then just throw them out there to get killed. They've already got mass graves dug for them. They know they're going to get killed. Isn't war hell? And look who suffers, the civilian population, the ones that put their lives on the line purposely, like this woman and the people that are fighting for their lives. They know their lives might be taken. But if you're just sitting in your home and all of a sudden somebody lobs in a guided missile and it hits your house, why are they shelling people, innocent people in suburban neighborhoods, urban neighborhood, whatever? To terrorize them and to take them out, and it's an ethnic cleansing. And this ethnic cleansing, or this taking out, is really the real agenda, is that they just want to get land over there for fracking or whatever the frack they're going to do. I'm in solidarity. I'd be fighting with these people if I could. I really would. It's a sham what's going on here. It's a sham. The whole thing, just like everything else, is unreal. I'm glad I can see some of this frontline stuff, because thank you, Fozzie. I really appreciate some of that stuff you've been sending. You're a good intel person, and he's a kindred. I got to talk to him on the phone, and we had a nice talk, and we're definitely on the same page, kindred. Anybody that wants to talk to me can. I talk to Natalie, and I talk to Fozzie, and I can talk to people in the United States by the computer for free. I can dial them up on the computer. So, you know, if you feel like you want to talk to me, you can. I'm not like, you know, a big celebrity that you can't get a hold of or anything. I don't think anybody in America really knows what's going on with, I mean, we know they don't. They know, I mean, if they could see these pictures, and you know what they're doing, they're pulling these. The reason that I'm also not sending out links to these videos is because I don't want to get them pulled down. I don't want to share them on Google. I'm having them sent to me through email, but I don't want to, you know, I don't want to get them out there too much because I don't want to put those people's channel in jeopardy that are able to capture some of this stuff and get it over here. And it's in Ukrainian and Russian, and it's translated. Seeing some of these people interviewed and crying, and there's actually real reporters over there from somewhere that are interviewing these people and taking probably independents, probably from Russia, who knows. But are our people over there? Is NBC over there? CNN? No. They don't care. See, they don't want you to know the truth. Don't want you to know the truth. Meanwhile, on the financial front, that's all going to hell in a handbasket. There was another big change today with, I think, the EU or something said they're going to print money as long as they want and as much as they want. Good thing the Swiss unpegged their. It's, you know, it ain't going to last here too much longer. You just can't keep printing money. I don't know what they mean by printing money. Let's think about this, because this seems, and if anybody has any comments on this, please feel free. Everything I said, by the way, up until this point that I didn't even know about until I saw some of these videos and stuff that I've been saying on all levels, all fronts, right on. I don't even need to go to the media. I'm a wisdom keeper. This stuff comes to me through the air. I just say, I think this might happen, or I think that might happen. Spirit's telling me what's going on. And I always said ISIS was a total made-up thing, but it's even more than made up. It's our army. That they're telling the people, be afraid of our army, but not everybody knows it's our army. Might as well be. It's funded by us. I won't go back into that. Where was I here? I'm getting off track. The financial thing. It's hasn't changed, and it's getting worse, and they just keep printing more. Oh, I know where it was. What does that mean, printing money? See, people think they just print out money on a printing press. They do, yeah, I mean, but that's not what they mean by printing money. I got news for you. It's just adding money in zeros and ones on a computer. And they just, and they add the money. Because most money is exchanged by computer and credit cards and not cash money, okay? It's electronic money. Electronic money. So when you say printing money, can't you just put in there as much as you want? That'd be like me going in my bank account and being able to just hit the computer and say, yeah, I think I'll put 100,000 in there today, and just put it in there on my computer. $100,000, you know, $300,000. That's what they do. That's what they're doing. And so when they do that, it's not reality, Okay, the reality where people are exchanging money, like when let's say you go to the store and you have cash, that cash is becoming worth less and less and less and less and less. People don't get this. The more they print, the more you have of something, the less it's worth, because there's so much glut in the market. Let's say if the market's glutted by oil, why do you think oil's going down? If it's glutted by something else, why do you think that goes down? They can't get rid of it. They have to lower it to sell it. Or they have to, so that's what's going to happen. That's what is happening. It happened a long time ago. So we got money flooding trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions. So you couldn't even think of, what do you think about $40 going down to the store and buying some groceries or something? That's how you relate to money. But these people are just, so this is all an illusion, people. And they can keep doing the illusion as long as they want to. I don't see any reason, I haven't heard any reasonable explanation as to what could stop these people. They say it's going to explode. They say there's going to be a bubble. They say this, they say that, but yet they still keep doing it. That's the frustrating part. It's like, I don't understand finances well enough, and I don't think anybody out there understands finances, and even the people that understand finances don't understand it now, because they're not playing by the rules anymore. That's what the problem is. The problem is that they're not playing by any kind of rules in any areas. No laws. The laws don't affect them. The rules, the laws, whatever you want to call it, they don't play by them, and they expect us to play by them, like with taxes and all that bullshit. Don't play by them. They ain't playing by them. It's time to fight the system. It's really time to fight the system and to just refuse. Everybody refuse at once. What can they do to everybody? That's where the Indians went wrong. They didn't band together. That's why I keep telling you people that you need to band together, band together, band together. BG or BT, band together. BT, band together, band together, band together. They ought to put little things in our pockets that say band together, band, like those little, what's that saying about, if you don't hang together, you will hang, you surely will hang individually. Something like that. You have to hang together. That's why I really enjoy talking to some people in other countries, Canada and across the states, and just knowing that I'm connecting with somebody real instead of somebody that isn't real. But we have to get real. We have to get real. Okay? And we can't drop the ball as far as, let's say, okay, let's just take for an example that nothing can be done. I've said that before. I said it's out of our control. And it is, basically. But it sure don't hurt to do some ritual to say, hey, grandfather. And you know what? Ritual works. I'm here to tell you that if you do ritual in the right way, if you say this prayer, if you say grandfather, sincerely grandfather, grandfather sun, grandmother earth, grandfather sky, spirits of the four directions. You have to learn this, okay? Sapa is in the west, that's the walk and yawn, think of the birds. the thunder beings, and they're the guardians of this planet. They're the guardians of you. They'll rip ass if you ask them to, if it's called for. Let's put it this way, they'll make things right. They're warriors. Okay, then you got Luta, which is represented by the elk, which is the north, and red and renewal. So you ask for that spirit of that direction to renew you. You already asked the west to protect you and make things right. Then you ask for renewal. Then you ask Gi, which is in the east, okay, and is yellow and is the sun rising and the creative energy. And then you go to Ogaga Ska, which is represented by a owl, okay, and the spirit world. Ask help from ancestral spirits from that side. You go to all these different directions and you ask for help, and you burn some sage, okay, while you're doing this, so that that sage goes up to heaven, or go, you know, not heaven, but into the ethers, and is carried to grandfather through the smoke. Just like in the Inipi, in the sweat lodge, through the smoke from the rocks, you know, the steam that, you know, when you pour water on the rocks in the Inipi, in the sweat lodge, or when you smoke the chinumpa, the herbs in that, the sweet grass, the sage, whatever herbs you like. When you do this stuff and you sincerely think about nature when you're doing it, because the spirit of the four directions represents nature. It represents everything that is in the spirit that moves in all things, like I talked about before. When you connect with these elements, it gives you power as an individual, and that power accumulated with all of us. So we should do that every single day. The spirit of the four directions, grandmother, grandfather, help me connect with you. Know their names, the Wakanyan, the thunder beings. Know all the names of the spirit of the four directions. This is powerful stuff. It works. What can I say? Just like my splatter vision works and every other shamanistic thing I teach works. I wouldn't teach it if it didn't work. So do it. That's an order from thunder. Please sit down for 5 minutes, burn some sage, clean your energy. That cleans your energy, sage does, cleans your whole house. Get a feather and blow it through the feather and activate the feather, because when you blow on a feather, it activates it. Okay, shamanistic technique, blowing on a feather, because it flaps in the wind, and when you blow on a feather, it activates it. And you blow sage on a feather off into the directions that you want to change. So we need to blow some sage and do some chinunpa and some prayer and some sweat lodge or whatever you want to do, and ask grandfather to send these people over there good energy and to change the tide, so that the bastards that are, you know, perpetuating this stuff, the West, eat crow. They eat crow. Okay? They get shown for what they are. Now, if they really get shown for what they are and you spread this around, see, you're all warriors. Think of the people that are out there on the front line fighting for their babies and their children and their grandparents and whoever, this young lady, out there on the front lines with guns in their hands, could get their heads blown off like that, fighting for freedom and the right to live, just live. So what is it to you if you go out and talk to your neighbor and straighten them out. I don't care if they like you or not. Or talk to a person that's in a coffee shop, straighten them out. Even if 10 people gang up on you, you straighten them out. And don't back down. Of course, they'll label you then, but don't they label us all anyway? In this labeling thing, forget about it. Like this obsessive defiance disorder and all that, just to try to make people look crazy because they're bucking authority. The founding fathers of this country said you should buck authority. They're turning around, making it a crime. Can we say Nazi Germany? Can we say Hitler? Can we say every Pol Pot or whoever? Can we say every vicious dictator that ever existed is now, this country has got them trumped tenfold? It's just that you can't see it. But if you could strip the skin off these people and bare their, you'd probably see a reptilian, you'd probably see a monstrous looking thing. Spiritually. I'm not talking about, the David Icke reptilian thing. No, I'm talking about reptilian as far as cold-blooded. Cold-blooded murderers. And what do you do with cold-blooded murderers? What do? You take them out. That's what you do. It's like in the Old West when you're camping out and a bunch of cold-blooded murderers show up and you got a woman there and they want to rape her or kill you or do whatever they're going to do. What do? You pull out your Winchester and take them out one at a time. That's what Wakia says. You got to take out the people that are harming the other people, and at least inform people that they need to be taken out. Even if you have to do it like they need to be taken out of office. How stupid. Who are you going to put in there? Another idiot? No, we need to all be self-governing. We need to all just not have a government, but have citizens that help each other and form little communities and citizen units of defense units and to keep the peace. You don't need cops. You know what it is when you don't have a government and you have just citizens? That sounds fun, doesn't it? It sounds good. Sounds tribal, almost tribal. You know what that's called? Anarchy. That's what it's called, really. Most people think anarchy's bad, man. Anarchy's not bad. Anarchy means no government. Period. End of story. Rulership by the people in small groups, teachers and everybody, nobody gets paid. It's all voluntary, okay? And people rotate. See, that's how it should be. So is anarchy bad? Well, they make everything bad. Anarchy. Sounds bad, doesn't it? Now they got terrorists. You know what? Terrorism is putting fear into people and doing the horrible, horrible things that our country is doing over there. And other countries are doing the same thing. I'm not just saying, I'm not picking on the USA, France, Canada, all these lackey puppet states, polish your rocket states. Look that term up. It's sick. Okay. It's basically sick, just like it was back in when they massacred the Indians at Sand Creek and everywhere else. Genocide, people. This thing has to come to a head in one way or another, because I'm figuring, well, if it doesn't come to a head financially, Something that it'll come some other way, naturally. I'm feeling everything I said I feel happens. And I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of natural things happening, supernatural, unexplainable things. Because that's what Spirit tells me. It's going to be unexplainable things that start happening. They're not even going to realize what's happening. Because it's going to come from a supernatural source, and we have to request that the Walk and Yawn, the thunder beings, activate their activity for the betterment of mankind, for the betterment of all people on earth. Well, this video is getting kind of long. Don't even know what I'll call it. I've talked about too many things today. But you'll see it. I'll just put something on there. Put anything. Camouflage shirts. No. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it there today, but I have to get out here and just speak about truth. I'm not really talking about world events so much anymore as each little event, but just in general, the whole warring. You can only talk about generalities now. You can't get specific because none of the specifics are true. So you can't say they did this and they did that because you don't know what the hell they're doing. All you can see is the effects from what they're doing. Like war and death and people getting killed and genocide. And how long can you put up with this is the question I'm asking. How long can you put up with it? You know? So let's combat it spiritually. If we can't tote a gun out there, let's become warriors on a different level. I would tote a gun if I could. Even at my age. Okay? I might not be too mobile as I once was, but I'll just sit in the window with the scope. People, I love all you guys, and I really appreciate talking to some of you on the phone, and I've had some people say some great things, so I'm going to keep this up. I'll just play it by ear, man. I go yin-yang, you know, on the spiritual, physical, duality, ascending, descending. I wrote a book about that called Thunder in the Wind. It's the second version, or part 2 of Emergence. If you guys haven't read that book, Emergence and Thunder in the Wind, you're missing out. You're missing out. There's a lot of shamanistic information in there and a lot of just good stuff. It's just a good novel. It's exciting. It's got martial arts, sex, everything. You know, tasteful sex, sacred sex. But who cares anyway? That's part of life. Just like I'm reading some Western books, and some Western books, you know, they have the heroine and the cowboy and the, you know, they go at it sometimes in a tasteful way, and other guys don't even write about that. Well, to me, if you don't write about it, it's like not real. You're not, they leave that out, like that's X-rated or something. It's not. It's part of life. So, I guess I'll leave it there today and say, walk the red road and come from the heart, chante ishte, and until I see you in the next video or the next life or whatever, I'm out of here. Adios.